Okay, hi everybody who might be joining us and watching this later as we Miraculous Maestros, this is a sampling of our Miraculous Maestros crew, are going to talk today on magic and miracles, one of our favorite topics. Exciting. And, I was just thinking about it and I was thinking, well, the way I see it anyways, it's not like magic, like fairy stuff. And it's not like miracles, like pick up thy bed and walk kind of thing. It's more like this amazing, exciting, unprecedented things that happen in a kind of synergistic play, a flow that happens that has unprecedented outcomes come for us. And we have been learning to be kind of maestros of sourcing the flows, the space, the magic, the miracles for people. And I'm sure Madeleine will probably tell us a little bit about hers recently, but we all have stories like that, of just how things happen so breathtakingly brilliant. So I thought maybe we'd start by asking all of you to say, like, well, how do you define or see what magic and miracles are, and have you seen them show up in your life?
I'll jump in. I love the language of magic and miracles, and it to me is anything that's beyond our limited thinking. Like if we get stuck and think that's never going to work, or I don't know how, or yada yada yada, it's almost anything like we just lift out of that and anything's possible. The other piece of that is I've been playing, as we all have, with miraculous outcomes, and some of my clients are really resistant to that. And it's at first, it's so interesting because they're like, I don't really like that. And it's like, but once they get that we're just entering the quantum and anything is possible. It's not that you design your miraculous outcome, right? Because it's not like once you define it, it's not miraculous anymore. So there's this opening and this lifting and this infinite expansive possibility to anything magical and miraculous in my world.
How do you see the difference between magic and miracles?
Well, I don't use magic that much. I don't use that term that much. I think I'd have to think about that a little bit more, but like magic to me feels like sprinkling magic dust, kind of like Tinkerbell. Miraculous just feels expansive.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to hearing that question asked of our fellow panelists here today, because I hadn't actually thought about it.
Yeah. I was thinking that magic is somewhat explainable, but hugely fun and just really exciting stuff happens. And the miraculous to me takes it outside the bounds of what you think is possible to happen now. Yeah. So it goes to another level really for me. And maybe sometimes magic is used to create the miracles, but
yeah. So that feels in alignment with what I was thinking too, maybe different language, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I'm sort of also sitting in here and trying to figure out what is the difference between the two, magic and miracles. And I'm not quite sure. Maybe there's many aspects to what we're talking about. And I don't know if those terms even cover it all. I would use words serendipity and synchronicity and for me, it's connected to a high vibe and things that unprecedentedly happen that are, in a way, just forwarding my being so that things just fall in place. Like I had this beautiful experience a couple of weeks ago where I had forgotten that I needed to stay home to wait for a package from the postage because it was coming with a car. And I had said yes to go and see a friend, and it was a beautiful summer evening. So I was out on my way to meet her and have a dinner outside. And I bicycled past a postal car, and then I think, oh gosh, I was supposed to be at home. And I stop my bicycle and I get the driver's attention thinking, oh, I'll have to ask him. Maybe he has my package. And of course he did. And I could just take the package, put it in my bicycle and carry on, and everything was fine. That kind of magic, miraculous experiences, that's sort of just a small one. But it had to do with me actually having come off a call with all of you where I was in this very high vibration where everything was possible. Yes. But I also do know, I mean, I don't know if I call it magic even, but I work with energies. If I come into a space or where where I sense there's a lot of chaos and somehow it's for me to attend to, I can just sit in a meditative state or do certain things where I bring in all that field and transform it as I am just pouring my attention into it, and then coming back to that same situation, everything seems to have been resolved. And I experienced that many times. Or putting that kind of intention into any kind of event that I'm about to be a part of.
Yeah, those are good.
But without any expectations of the outcome, just that the opening is there for the possibilities for the flow to happen.
That is true. You have to let go of an expectation or an agenda attached to it. You can still intend great things, but you kind of have to do it quite loosely because the universe, the field, the force, whatever we want to call it, will surprise us.
Exactly. And I suppose that is the magical part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also miraculous. So I'm not quite sure if I can quite discern the two so clearly either. It's like a continuum, or it's just, but I think I better like it. For me, it's more like an energetic jump. It's like it's a leap into something that is more expansive. And in that, I'm not attached to ideas of how it's supposed to be.
It's a reality jump. Just when you say it, it's like if you're being the normal you with the thinking mind and the, constructs of beliefs and everything, then life is going to go in a certain ordered way as you'd expect it to. But then you quantum leap almost into this, and it's a very simple thing. Quantum leap sounds a bit complicated, but it's very like you expand, you light up, you come higher, you connect, you become a vibrant source of the field reality, like the consciousness, and then you can be in the flows and you can activate these amazing possibilities that you didn't have down here when you were operating in normal mode. So there is a shift of state of energetics or being or whatever we want to call that. Yeah.
But I think it's very much connected to what you're calling field, because it is really, it's not a me, it's a field me experience. It's me letting go of me and identifying with the all, like you would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I go into media and movies and Walt Disney, and so magic is Mickey Mouse with his little wand and the squirrels and the deer and everybody creating things and going in and cleaning up the house of the seven dwarfs, and or going to Hogwarts, and it's thing where people bring it up out of themselves and flick their wands and make things happen, and they happen in a very big way, sometimes almost violent. And in comparison to miraculous would be, for me, the first thing that came would be like apparitions of the Blessed Mother, and they just comes in and it's subtle and everybody's just in awe. And in Guadalupe, then he opens up his cape and there's roses in the cape. And so it's a more subtle, and as you say, it's a kind of a different level, as you were saying. So it's more of the more masculine magic and a more feminine, just creating and bringing into form or knowledge or whatever of the information of what's occurring. And so things just occur in more of a subtle way that a lot of times, we don't even realize things are occurring. And then all of a sudden later, it's like, oh yeah, this happened. I'm in this beautiful home, and how it occurred was just, I didn't even know it was happening. And all of a sudden I'm here. And so that's more of a miracle. And then the magic is more of doing, and miracles are more being.
Thank you for that, Dorianna, and that really crystallizes it. I was sort of moving towards that, but I would concur with you definitely that that's how it feels. I think I was going to say magic feels like the process and the miracles feel like the outcome. And so for me at the moment, I feel like the magic is flowing, and we've been the doing and the making it happening. But I've actually just this afternoon entered that phase of surrender and that receptivity, where you say, oh, okay, well, I witnessed that the magic is flowing, and we've done all that we need to do, and now it's a question of being in that state of receiving that divine feminine opening and receiving, to receive that miracle that, as you were saying, Soleira, miracles are beyond what you can even imagine. The magic, you are a Mickey Mouse running around going, I want this, and Tinkerbell. But there is a higher dimension, isn't there, to miracles, where, you just sit and then when it appears, you're like, oh, wow, I never thought of that. So, yeah, so thank you, ladies. I really enjoyed your discussion. It's very relevant for what's happening for me now, so thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. I do think there's different feelings attached to the two. When I'm being magical, I'm lit up with delight. And when I'm being miraculous, as you said, Dorianna, there's a more profoundly, a profound awe in me about it, I would say. And I can do the shift from one to the other, a state of emotiveness, you could say. And that state activates the field. But to me, what's the most wondrous about it is that we can, the field, if we call it that for a minute, has in it these possibilities of outcomes, of connections, of abundance, of, working things out that look chaotic or look distressful or look, whatever. And you can actually, through this emotive response, activate the field to get those things at work for you or for the whole. Even I sometimes find it's easier for me if I do everything and then come back to me rather than try and do me. It works much better that way if I do the whole, the all first, all life, the world, whatever, and then come back to me. That seems to put it in a much, but the field likes that in some way, So yeah, and Madeleine, we'll get you to just share a little bit about what's been happening with you selling houses, but I think there's something about when it wants to happen. You know, when you're in your normal self and you think, this has happened. This is how it's going to go. Oh my God, it's going to be awful. You know, we think those things, right? But then you come into this space and you discover what wants to happen and you align with the rightness of flow of what wants to happen, as if there's some kind of ordered synchronicity in the universe just waiting for you to connect with. And when you do, then it starts bringing forth unprecedented outcomes for you because you've aligned with that flow, that energy, that vibration, etc. So Madeleine, maybe you'd like to just give us a short synergy of what's happened for you in the last week and a half, because it's quite miraculous, actually.
It really is. I think almost 2 weeks ago, my husband and I had been sort of discussing whether we should try and sell our houses and move from the city out to the country, along with a gazillion other people who want to do that. And so we looked at it from a very rational point of view and thought, well, this seems like a very long shot and potentially risky one with all the pundits crying gloom. And then this really was a miracle, actually. I sort of went to bed on the Friday night, sort of, you know, oh, this isn't going to happen. And then next morning, somehow, something had reintegrated within me, perhaps in an anticipation of the magic that was going to flow, that just said, well, I know we said all of that, but let's give it a go. And then I contacted you and you sort of zinged me up, and then quite remarkably, these strange signs started to appear. So first of all, it was signs from the universe. And then bit by bit, as these signs appeared, we thought, oh, okay, look, you know, we seem to be receiving some encouragement, you know. I'd love to say that I just had this deeper inner knowing that we should do it, but no, I need the signs, you know. And so we decided to just go for it. Then I began taking the action of phoning the agents, and, you know, someone's just written me a little tune because I sent her a thing saying, we're flat out cleaning and tidying, trimming and strimming, something and something, I don't know. Anyway, she put it in a little round, which I've been singing, and it energizes me. So that's just a little gift from the universe where someone takes something you said and creates a little ditty for you to sing. And so things have been going very well. So here we are, you know, less than 2 weeks later, with 2 house offers on the house. We haven't yet accepted because there are more viewings and potentially more offerings, or offers, I should say. And it's been quite remarkable how quickly that has happened. We've had to put the work in, but, you know, we were both, we don't have a lot of energy, but somehow we were extraordinarily energized to do gardening and tidying and cleaning, which, you know, we don't like doing, but it was great. And then what's interesting is seeing the journey in yourself from the, oh, I don't know, maybe, and then once the magic starts to gather pace, you start to feel more encouraged. And as I say, just today, I feel like I've just tipped into that place of serenity of, well, it's a strange thing. It's a 3-way process of serenity. Yes, I'm surrendering and waiting for the miracle. Then there's another part that's, oh my goodness, this really might happen. You know? And then an excitement. Oh, this really might happen. And what I will say is that, you know, it begins with a step of faith. There's that wonderful quote, isn't there, by Goethe? You know, whatever you can dream or imagine, begin it. It has power, genius, and magic in it. And that was it. We said, okay, let's begin this journey and see what happens. And my goodness, did the genius, power, miracles, you know, not, I would say, in large part due to all the encouragement and support from you, Soleira, and you, Aliza, and all of you. You know, you are Miraculous Maestros, and I'm sure that you have been a very key part of the magical flow of this that I think is going to manifest the miracle of being able to buy against the odds. But I'm now actually in a place of miracle mindset, which is, well, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If we're meant to go, it will appear. So, yeah, and it is a wonderful, wonderful, extraordinary journey and process to be in. So thank you.
The whole journey is miraculous. Every
Yes.
step of the way, isn't it? You've shared lots of stories with us about the amazing synchronicities, the people you've met, the agents, how wonderful they are, the people who are looking at just over and over and over. It's amazing. So, yeah. And, you know, as Miraculous Maestros, one of the things we do in our group, if somebody needs assistance with something, then we like, boom, we kick in. Yeah, and it is like that, isn't it? It's like, here we go. Boom, there you are in the field. There's what's going on there. We've elevated it. We've activated it with possibilities. We've, you know, brought the magic into flow. We've aligned the brightness. Whatever we all do, we might all do it differently. But as a collective, it's extraordinary. I think there's even more power in doing it collectively than there is doing it individually. Like if I was wanting to do something, I would come to the collective immediately. So, you know, if anybody's watching this who isn't part of that, you want to create people around you like that. So you have a collective who know how to activate some pretty magical and miraculous stuff for you. So yeah, amazing. Yep.
Can I just add, this might sound a trifle trite, but as much as the miracles are happening out in the field and all these wonderful things, at a more profound level, it's the miracle that you're witnessing within yourself of your capacity to dream, to dare to believe, to take action, and to step back and receive and be open, you know, because once you've experienced that and that becomes part of your being, then, you know, that is part of your warp and weft that will help you do that in the future.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask each of us to just kind of think of what would you want to say to leave people with around how they can access this for themselves. So let's see if I was going to say something about that. It's allow yourself to go beyond yourself. When you sit in yourself, you have a certain construct that's built around you. And so I think to me, one of the most important things is allow yourself to just go beyond who you think you are. Just let that be a simple, easy, graceful thing to do and enter into the space in which these things naturally occur. That would be my kind of tips for people. So anybody else?
I would say something very similar, and I would add maybe begin to dream, begin to activate your imagination. Like, what would you really love? And notice where your brain goes, but I can't, and I won't, and I'm not, and yada, yada. But and then from there, right? And I guess the next question might be, well, how do you get beyond yourself? So I would say, like, drop into your being and then just enter the field of imagination, because the field of imagination is so rich with possibilities. And once you can catch a glimmer that there might be something more than you can imagine, that to me helps you enter the field, helps you get beyond yourself, helps you, oh, wait, oh, but what if? Oh, but, oh. And then once you line up, then you be different. And once you be different, everything else can change into the miraculous and the magical and the fun. It's so much fun to play in this field. So that's the other thing, I guess. Activate some fun. However you do that, you know, go for a bike ride or, you know, blow up balloons or whatever. Something fun.
It's not all serious and significant, is it? A lot of people think it is. They think the realm of the miraculous is very significant and really,
I think that keeps us out of it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be in that exuberant state to access the field of it all. So yeah. Beautiful things. Yep.
I'd like to build on what both of you have been saying, because I'm thinking also that what I do is it's that expansion, yes, and it's like trying to get in touch with whatever is joyful and try and kind of go into the joy. But then I also use that same joy from that expanded state and I go back into what was worrying me, so that I kind of go back and forth between the expansion and that place where it's more constricted, until there is kind of a more flow between, and where that isn't all the time drawing me inwards in that way. And it can even entail that I start crying or just sensing a relief or a sigh, or, you know, there can be an emotional kind of release as a result of having done that. And I think that's, at least that's what I've experienced several times, that, you know, it's because it's usually when I'm really stuck that I need to act in some ways, because once the field is flowing, you know, then you just, what is God trying to show me right now? You know, it's like, but it's when I can't see beyond my own nose, I need to act in that kind of way. And okay, so what is there? Is there some place in myself that kind of can lift my spirits, that I can feel loved or feel connected or whatever, and then go from there? Mm-hmm.
It's all what you said. Like you said, I am just taking in what you all said, because it's striking a chord, and I can see where, oh yeah, that'll work. And I would just say to people to, yes, just go into your heart and to realize when you look around that all these miraculous things have happened in your life, and that you have the ability to recognize. I think the recognition that all these wonderful things are happening, and you just may happen to be in a certain funk that you think is a funk, but you can look at that and then open up to all of these wonderful things that we don't even know exist yet. But looking at our past, we've always grown into bigger and bigger and better things without even realizing that that has taken place. But when we actually look at that, we can see that we're such amazing creatures with all the things that take place, like in our bodies, that run every cell, that we aren't having to think, oh, my heart's beating and I have to make my lungs do this, but everything is just automatically taking place, that we're in this universe where we are each the center of this universe, but we're also representing the whole universe as a magnificent being. So anyway, it's miraculous and magical in all ways. So thank you for all of your input on how to generate that within. I think that's an important key, is putting ourselves into that joyful place and realizing that all the joy is here for us.
From my recent experience, I would say the two things are removing the focus from yourself as to whether you can magic up a miracle, and putting it onto source. whatever you conceive that to be. And when you understand that source is love and wants the best for you, that sort of empowers. It feels like you're on a river being carried rather than frantically paddling your own canoe. And then the other one would be whatever you can dream, begin. Take the first step towards that dream, no matter how small that step is. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And it does seem as though there is something uniquely powerful about taking that first step. It starts to unleash the power of the universe. So trust and begin.
So can we just, Kristine's just about to come in. Let me let her come in. I was just going to, let's do a piece about it. So I'll just let her come in. And hi, Kristine. You've just come in on our conversation from Magic and Miracles. Perfect timing. So we've all been sharing about how we see it, how one gets there. I was just going to say, let's us as magical maestros align together for anyone who's watching and for the whole world to experience this kind of state of delight, of joy, of magicalness, of the ability to source unprecedented outcomes for themselves. So let's just do that so they can get a sense of the feel of it. Okay? Alrighty, here we go. Okay. Oh gosh, that felt so good. This really is a sensory experience. You know, I don't think you can't get to it from, you know, a push life in my direction. It doesn't work like that. There is that surrender, as I think Lynn mentioned, there's that almost like a kind of uplift and elevation of the space that we exist in and the connectivity of us with all life, with source, universe, fields, you know, force, the force, whatever we want to call it. And it's in that space that everything just occurs and you feel the difference in you. So if anyone was watching and didn't feel it, you might be watching from here. So feel it from here and experience the feeling of it is where I think that it occurs. So any last words on any of you for what you were experiencing during that?
Yeah, just be willing to get out of your own way. You know, just be willing, like you just said, you can't think it. You can't think your way there. It is so far beyond thinking. So that sort of, for me, it's like drop into me and then out. And several of you said it, you have to do it for something greater than you. You can't, it's like that is the key, that is the door riff. I'm just trying to do my own, I'm just in my own here. But as soon as I access and I do it for the group or the world or somebody else, it just, the floodgates open.
Anybody else want to add anything before we wrap her up?
I just thinking as you're saying that, Aliza, that I think that's also that sense that I have, and I think we've been speaking about that also, that we're no longer an I, that we're much more a we in our perception of ourselves. And I understand that from neuroscience even, that is true. We are a me, we are field, and the more we are acknowledging that, the more the flow, the more joy actually flows through us. And it's even a neuroscientific fact, which I find is kind of fascinating.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. Yeah.
Love that. I love the me we. That's so good, Lynn. And I had the exact same thought as Aliza. The getting out of your way. I am going through some physical something. So I just remembered at the last second to pop on with you ladies. And just that one little bit, you know, as soon as I got out of here and into here, and just exactly what you said, into that sensory, you know, it was just like I was in all those light flows that I usually see. And, you know, I was like, oh, right. Like, why didn't I do that 6 hours ago? But yeah, and whatever it is that I can do for the all, you know, just start there. Even if I don't physically feel great, which, you know, I can see where that, you know, keeps me in a smaller place when that's really nothing. It's a little blip on the screen compared to how powerful we are. Yeah.
And I usually take, if I'm tired or I'm not feeling well or something's going weird, I usually take that as a sign rather than, I don't judge it. Because if you judge yourself, ooh, you're out. You're out of the game. And
could you just delete judgment from my whole experience, please?
Ka-ching.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, because that self-judgment is one of the worst things that keeps you away
Sure.
from all this wonderful, amazing possibilities for ourselves.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I know, judging every little symptom, like what's that, and trying to figure it out because I'm making it wrong,
Yeah.
you know. And then I read Madeleine's post about all the things going great, and then except her brother's got sick and her brother has that, and I was like, you know what, when it's someone else's, it's so much easier to see. I was like, maybe that's perfect for them in some way, and maybe that's part of the, you know, I was like, oh right, maybe I could say the same about me. But it really is a simple shift, and just to notice, oh, that's a judgment, that's not helpful, and then set it free. It's as easy as that. I do see that. Yeah.
And then you're in a space where you can float in it. So if it's a transformation space, which it often is, when you're either getting sick or you're feeling low or tired, those are usually transformational shift moments. And you can sit in them with a kind of ease, rest, grace, you know, do the things you need to do and get buddies to sing you up.
Yeah.
You can come through it in no time at all normally. And if it takes longer, that's okay too. You know, I often will say, what's the universe pointing me towards here? That's one of the questions I ask, or what's this for? Those are questions that will point me in the right direction to take me out of the concern and self-judgment and that kind of thing into that space where these things can occur. So yeah. Madeleine, I think you were going to say something. Oh, sorry, Dorianna. Yeah, go for it.
So I was going to say, going back to magic to miracles, I saw the little mice and the pumpkin, well, the mice turning into horses. And that was just like instantaneous. That's magic. And the miracle now is that our bodies are turning into these crystalline light bodies, and it's all happening within, but it's subtle, but that's the miracle of what's happening with us right now.
Yeah, in fact, our next topic on Conversations in the Deep Field is going to be youthing, on which Dorianna is a super expert. So that'll be our next one that people can look forward to. So, yep. Madeleine, any last piece for you?
Well, I guess all I was going to say, I know this won't be everyone's terminology, but for those for whom it works, there's that old saying, isn't there? Let go and let God. So it works for me.
Yeah, I get that completely. Yeah. You surrender, align with something greater, something bigger, the field, the force, the source, the universe, whatever, and let it flow through you. It's amazing when it happens. You get to become somebody you really enjoy. You know, that's the beauty of it. When you do this for, as Aliza said, for greater purpose, for others, for the world, you start to really enjoy yourself, which is so different than the normal human condition. You know, it's just delightful to be able to play in this way. So, from all of us, Miraculous Maestros, we wish all of you magic and miracles in your life every minute of every day. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Lots of love.